Okay, welcome to Mind Your Character with Olusola-Obasa. I'm very excited to be here. As usual, I like to ask how your week has been. How are you doing? How's family? How are you? How's work? How's everybody? I'm fine. I'm in high spirits always. I seldom people that coin that word that they say that we don't look like what we go through. I believe in it so much. So you don't have to carry it on your face. Yes, as humans, there are times when you cannot afford to. That thing is not pretense. It's just management of yourself. So that those who don't need to say sorry to you don't need to say sorry to you. Or those who don't have to say sorry to you will not say sorry to you. So it's been an interesting season for everyone. Happy Democracy Day yesterday to all of us. Our prayers are that the full weight of profit and benefit of democracy be our portion. And honestly, there were some things I was supposed to post. I couldn't just get myself to post because I told myself that India are no far from here. India are no far from here. And if about 241 from the last checks that I did, up to 241 people lost their lives in a crash yesterday, just yesterday on um, Indian Air. And I have been really trying to not follow the details of the story. You know, being a journalist, there's no way you still want to be up to date. You don't want people to tell you how something happened or where it happened. But as it is, okay, but as it is, we just have to come to terms with the fact that it's just the same word. It's a lot, 241. And I learned there's a survival. That's some encouragement. And learning about an entire family. So I was saying to members of my family this morning that every time I hear that an entire family or substantial number of family members um, perish in a crash, I remind myself that this is what they used to tell us. So that you should not fly you and your wife, or don't fly your entire family. My husband now laughed and said, "That's true, but do I know that some people have been flying like that for decades and they've been safe? So really, it's just God helping us. It's just God being our aid." And one prayer I prayed this morning, I said, may we not be in the same vehicle, whether it's flying vehicle or water vehicle or road vehicle, with anybody who is already doomed to go, because there are a lot of things we cannot explain. My heart goes out to the entire um, families that may have lost a person or the other. I mean, it's not safe to just start this show, gloss over it. There was no post I could go ahead and post since that yesterday, even though I had things outlined. I just told myself that let's just leave that space in their honor. If you cannot even post something about it, because it was heavy for me. And I'm told that it's men mental health awareness month. Okay, interesting. A lot of conversations about men and their mental health. They need it though. Okay, and that probably reminds me about the fact that we are entering uh, Happy Men's Day week, 15th, Father's Day. Why am I calling it Happy Men's Day? What they call for me and say I see, they don't even know what it is called. So okay, oh, the moment I say Happy Father's Day, a father joined me. Welcome, Mr. Latin. It was good to see you and to have you. So yes, I'm going to just go straight up. I haven't done all those preambles. I'm just going to go straight up to my conversation for today. I've been telling stories about um, lessons that life has taught me in 50 years of life, and I coined them 50 valuable lessons in 50 years. I have missed up to three of those shows, either for a public holiday or something or the other. I was in transit where I could not keep up with the schedule. So I'm just going to go on to talk about it. But today, the tilt I'm going to take to it has a lot to do with RCB as an organization. So, in case you don't know RCB, RCB is First Royal Character and Values Limited, simply put RCB, and that's the company that I work for. Now, I want to tell the story about learning the hard lessons of the switch from being an employee, where you do not need to think about how they pay you, to being an entrepreneur or a business owner and then an employer, where you have to determine how others are paid. So it got to a point, and people have asked me, has there been times when you felt like quitting? I have never, oh, and I'm not lying, I have never felt like quitting. And the joy of it is that this entire project clocks 10 this year in November. And that's another good news. Just as I'm also clocking 15 August. So that tells you that I started this journey when I clocked 40. I started properly when I clocked 40. In 10 years of being on the side of business, switching from being an employee, so many lessons that I've added to my life. So there were things I never had to bother about. I never had to bother about how anybody will pay me. The switch happened, and you found out that every month, the question on your mind is, how do they get paid? And if you're someone like me who came from a work family where I was not owed, so it is not natural for me to think of owing my team members. So that switch, which I never realized existed while I was working as an employee with my own organ, I mean, the company I was working with, suddenly came to my realization when I became a business owner. And if there's anything that I've kept very important, is ensuring that, just like the God's word says that you should not deny people that work their pay. I hold that thing very, very strong. So if you ask me that, was it a rude shock? Was it a rude realization? Like, was it shocking? It wasn't shocking like that, but it was also something you just wanted that, look, this has to be done. And that just tells you how that you must continue to make money. You must continue to be in green. You can't be in red. If you're in red, that means that a lot is going on. So that's one lesson. So I decided that today I'm going to tell the story that I've learned around in life, the last 10 years of my life, the stories I've learned out of those years, the last 10 years of my life, the switches that have happened, the things I never knew I could do, that I give God the glory, I started finding myself being able to do. So the first one is that 26th of every month, which used to be our payday where I worked before, I had to learn to also fix a payday for those that work with me. I had to learn to respect that payday and not act like I can do anything I like with it and all of that. So that's a good lesson. That's an interesting lesson. And that's a lesson that I will encourage anyone who is switching. So if you are switching from being an employee to being an employer, heads up, heads up. Nobody will be caring about what you earn. You will be caring about whatever. So it's not now, it's not just you collecting things now, it's you also giving out and being consistent with it. So that's one major lesson. I will talk about as many as I can today. The second one was the fact that somehow in between, you're welcome, Ben Michael. Thank you for joining. So the second one is that as I went on, I found out that there were moments when you felt Am I sure? So there were moments I've second guessed myself. So if I face an interviewer says, 'Cause I know that we ask those questions, we ask startup people those questions a lot. So have there been times when you felt like giving up? Moi, I have never felt like giving up because I understood clearly why I started. But not to feel like a superhero. There have been times when I was second guessing myself. What do I mean by that? So I'll be like, okay, are you sure you are doing everything right? And those moments come to me when maybe there's a major anniversary, and if I weigh what I've seen versus what I expect, and it's not gelling, so I begin to say, are you sure you are doing everything correctly? Are you sure there isn't something you are not doing, and you are supposed to be doing that you are not doing? So I get myself into that retrospective mode, and it can be touchy also. I will not lie. There are times it can seem to make my head feel heavy because you seem like you're asking yourself questions. But did I know when I was catching the vision and excited about the vision that I'll come to those moments? But the positive part of that lesson for me is that I'm hardly ever relaxed around whatever success I've made. So I'm asking myself, how do we get to the next phase? How do we crack the sales code? How do we get into the league of people who can do business with us and give us fat checks? So there's always, it's interesting. Happy Father's Day in advance to all the men that are joining. It's only men that I have already. So I've given you people your happy Father's Day greeting in advance. So let me go back to my, so that you know that I paid my dues. On the 15th, I think it's going to be Father's Day, and we can't celebrate with people enough. Even if you're a father in waiting, it's still Happy Father's Day. So I had to take that break because I noticed that everybody that is joining right now is still a guy or a man. So let me go back to what I was saying. So I was saying that I have never doubted the vision. I have never thought that it was wrong. I have never thought that I took a wrong step. I have never thought that I started at the wrong time. But I have had times to second guess myself a whole lot. My name is Michael from Benue State, and I have some business plans, but no money. Okay. We can come back to that. We can come back to that. Leg of Rimo, good to see you. Okay, so I was talking about the fact that as an entrepreneur, there have been moments when I ask myself critical questions. Don't forget that like two shows ago or the last show, I was saying question you should answer before life asks you. So my own version of question. I just ask myself that, are you sure you are getting it? So sometimes I just tell myself that you need to check, are you on the right track? And is this what you should be doing? Is this how you should be doing it? Is this who you should be doing it with? Are you sure you have not made some wrong decisions? Are you sure you're on the track? Because why do I ask those questions? Because I have a simple understanding that if you are doing the right things, they will work. But here's another lesson I now learned. I learned that one by talking to someone who knew better than me. The lesson is that it's possible that you are doing everything right, but you are going through the process that will make it ultimately work. Ah, that lesson, that lesson. So you just wish that if I had known, I would not bother myself. But that's the way life is. You will not know. You will not know that it's a process. No, you will know it's a process, but you don't know how short or long it's going to be for, how much longer. Do I have to be in this office before I move to a bigger one? Do I have to transition from 710 clients to 720? 20 is even small. To 750, okay? How when will I move from 7 people who do 1 point something million to those who are doing maybe tens of millions, right? And even more. Those questions come. So in the last 10 years of my life, which involves RCB clocking 10, safely from 2015 till today, I have learned that you have to enjoy the process. You have to keep believing in the process. Yes, there can be moments when you feel like you're a bit down on questions, but don't lag, like don't wallow in there. Pick yourself up quickly. The next lesson is that I learned to speak to a mentor or an experienced person. So I have a very, very interesting view about mentor. I I value mentors. I value the role that a mentor should play. But I'm always at that point where I'm asking myself who fits, who can, who fits my, who fits my picture. I don't know if that's how I should be putting it. So, and one person who has always been a source of help for me has been my brother. So, caution, do not look down on a family member who is able to help you and now go and start breaking your head looking for one mentor outside when your younger brother can be your mentor in business. I don't know, like pastors will say, I don't know who I'm preaching to right now. I don't know who I'm preaching to. If you have a younger brother who is vast in an area, humble yourself and learn. Humble yourself. Big lesson. And I thank God I've never made a mistake around that lesson. God, my Father, help me. I have always been able to rebound. Most of the time, when I'm having those moments I talked about, it's about just booking a session, like having an appointment that I know that this appointment is not just check up on one another, it is talk business. I've always come out with clarity. So what if I took him for granted or I take him for granted? And what if I think that our younger brother now, so I'm 4 years older. Okay, what has 4 years older help in your life? So pick that lesson. I don't know what your own situation is. I don't know who you have that can help you, that you will be looking down on. So the person that will help you can come from anywhere. They do not have to be the big names that you know. So I think some people make the mistake of thinking that your mentor must have a high sounding name or must be very popular or must be out there, sha. Someone that if you mention their name and say my mentor is. And number two, I also realized that mentorship covers different aspects of life. So the mentorship I'm talking about with my younger brother is majorly business, majorly entrepreneurship, majorly financial management, all of those things that you need to go and pay another person outside for. And I do not take it for granted. So that's a great lesson that I learned in the last 10 years. I've learned that lesson. Now, another lesson that life has taught me within the last 10 years is the fact that if you look closely, you may not be making money yet, but if you look closely, you are adding value to yourself, adding value to people. So I learned not to measure my success just by bank accounts. Major lesson. I will never take that lesson for granted. Yes, there can be an extreme to it, so I know. There can be an extreme to it. But yes, I learned never to only measure my worth, my impact, my value by what I have in my account. The flip side of that is that there have been a lot of projects that I've been able to do, and I started them at a point where what they call shingbai was not available. But who you have become, the value you have gathered, the person you are to people, they always gather and support you and get your projects done. You talk and say, oh, I'm going to do this. And people say, oh, yes, we are in. That's not a cheap thing and should never be taken for granted. So another lesson that life has taught me is never, I do not measure my worth by my bank account. If you still do that, well, maybe that's what you prefer, but it can hurt your soul sometimes. So you need to also add this one that you are not as valuable as, you are not only as valuable as what's in your account. In fact, your value determines what comes to your account. So I'm somebody that if I need to do something and the money is not in my account, all I need to do is show up and say I want to do it. The moment I say it, everything that needs to come together comes together and gets it done. And that is self-sustaining till you get to that point where you don't have a problem about what's in your bank account, because there's more than enough that you can, which is, it comes in phases and it comes in stages. So that again is a lesson that I learned. When I started, I found out that, so as I was leaving my former employer, there were things I didn't know I could do. No, is it that I didn't know I could do? Or I didn't realize were locked inside me. I never knew as a journalist, active reporter, that books were inside of me. I never knew. But as we speak today, my eighth book, by the grace of God, is scheduled for public presentation in August. And each time I see the Dr. Olumide Emmanuels of this world, the Mama Funke Fenisadejimo of this world, I say, I have published over 100. I'm like, and they come. And they come. How you people got to 100? I'm also coming. Because right now, it will look to you like, 100. When will I get there? But one step after another, because there's so much to impact the world with. That's what a book is. A book is a medium of impact in an area that you are gifted or experienced or exposed to help people become better than you possible. So I never knew that books were locked inside me until I resigned. The moment it was the same. Okay, so I resigned in 2013, and by 2014, I was going to clock 40, and the idea struck me that document your journey, tell your story. And it led to my first book called God and I in 40 Miles. God and I in 40 Miles. So I've been around the world 40, and it's a journey of a girl held by the hand by God, working together, and they are now at the 40th mile of our journey. You get that? Yeah. So that was the first book. Oh. It was sold out. Actually, let me not lie. That book, apart from the monies I got the day they were doing public letter, people decided that, oh, I'll take at this, I'll take at this amount. That book, I gave everything. I was giving any youth group, any clinic, I was giving for free, because it's a book that I wrote to inspire people who are on their own journey, who may not have everything to start. So I told the story, is plenty of my stories. In fact, all of my stories, how God came through, how parents supported, how siblings showed up and all. So interesting book. It was, so I'm going to call it sold out because it was exhausted. I think I have just one copy and I treasure that one copy left now. But it was then revised. I repackaged it and decided to emphasize the character part of everything that I told in the story. So it was repackaged as the God factor in character development. So um, that was it. The funny was, and that came out in 2015, on the very day that RCD was inaugurated. It was presented to the public. We went from there. I took some break from books, and then by 2017, I published four books together in one day. But they were that time I reasoned out the need for me to have a book that is not bulky, that young people can read. So I did four books. I did uh, Character Begins at Home. I did What's Your Price. I did Remove the Roadblocks. And what's this fourth one? When Trust Capital is Lost. So those four books, they have been phenomenal. I've received so many from 2017 till now. They are still selling very well. So you see, the journey I'm taking is the journey to number one bestseller. Sure you get, because I am not called to be a passive author. I'm called to be an active author. So I'm supposed to author books on regular, on areas to help people. So it means that my goal is number one bestseller in several areas of book. That done, life also taught me that you have a lot, so that the lesson from them that you have more inside of you than you can imagine. So how did I know? How could I have known working as an employee? Because, and if I honestly, why did I not even think of it? But I'm not sure they would have stopped me from writing a book. Because I know people who wrote book while they were reporters, but it never came to my head. They were even editors, they weren't just reporters. So, but when I stepped out, I realized that there were things sitting down inside of me. Of course, yes, research, yes, study, yes, learning, but I never realized it. So, to the glory of God, there are 7 books already published, one about to be published within the next few weeks, then several unpublished that are lying there in my laptop, but they have to come out and they are coming out. So the lesson there is that there is more inside. There was more inside of me than I imagined. After leaving my employer, I've helped companies to publish magazines, and that came. So give the story to give. I mean, the kudos to give to that is what I learned from where I was. I've helped people to publish magazines, and I also do ghost authoring. Yes, ghost authoring. And you know, the rule in ghost authoring is you can't mention anybody's book that you write. You're not supposed to do that. So, but it's been a joy to see that. I think in the last 10 years, we started active ghost authoring. I started it maybe some 3, 4 years ago, and some major project books have been done. So you are more than who you think you are. That's the message in that last point. And as you take yourself more seriously, push yourself. If you don't push the door, it might not open. It's not every door that is a remote door. Some door you push them. And some door require muscles. Like the gate in my house where I live. If you don't have muscles, try to open that gate. It will not answer you. So that was on a light note. So it's been an interesting time, and I hope that a lesson or two have been picked from the things. So what I did today was to begin. I'm not done with all of the things I learned in the last 10 years, but I'm intentionally talking about it. So those times when I was worried that, oh, so why are things not answering? I got reminded that, have you checked very well the products that have come out of you these 10 years? Have you checked very well the lives that you have taught? Have you checked the platforms where you have stood? So if you are like me, that you do have those moments, here is me encouraging you to always look on the positive side and know that it's a journey and it's definitely leading you forward. So thank you so very much for being part of the show today. I've had Lekon has joined me. Lekon, it was your birthday recently, right? Was it his birthday or was it about to come? It was Lekon's birthday this June now, I guess. So happy birthday again, Lekon. And thank you, Mr. Olawale Latiwo. Thank you, Mr. Ben. Thank you, Mr. Olusola-Obasa. And thank you, Oga Lekan Brimo. How are you doing? Adao in Lagos or in Osun? Anyone. So all the men, enjoy your men's day over the weekend. And the ladies here say you should buy things for them. I not join them. No, that no. I not join them. Just enjoy your Father's Day. And if God put it in your heart to buy things for the women in your life, go ahead. Just show that you are stealing. Eh? Agba ẹ fàgbà hàn wọ́n. Like that. All right, so bye everyone. Please increase my music. Bye everyone and take care of yourself.